So very good afternoon to all. So after a review of the difference between spur and helical gear, and what is the difference between this, what are the different features of these helical gears, and what is the exact difference and working performance between the spur and helical gear. And we have also discussed something about this tooth proportions or terminology that we have discussed. So now we will be discussing about the virtual number of teeth, a different concept, and it is required. Virtual, the name only indicates imaginary. Formative, so name only indicates virtual. These are the imaginary teeth. So very first, before proceeding, I will tell you that in this particular case, uh, we have to, or spur gear is imagined in the helical gear. So where it can be imagined? So it can be imagined at only when we will take any perpendicular to the tooth, and if the section is taken, then in that particular section, perpendicular to tooth section, at that place only we can imagine the spur gear, and further, not for the virtual number of teeth, further we can apply all the formulas for spur gear for solving the numericals also. Therefore, we have to imagine a spur gear, and for imagining a spur gear, we have to take a cross section at a plane which is perpendicular to the tooth element. So this is the background, and let us start. The pitch cylinder of a helical gear is shown in this figure. It is cut by a plane AA. So I will highlight. This is plane AA, and these are our teeth. And at this particular plane, so if you can see here, so this is the plane which has cut this teeth, and again it normal to the tooth element as shown in figure. So very important, normal to the tooth element. If you take this angle is right angle, normal to tooth element. Okay, the intersection of the plane AA and the pitch cylinder extended produces an ellipse. So now the extended profile and the intersection of the plane, an ellipse is produced. The ellipse is shown by dotted line as shown on this side. So before proceeding, I want to give you some highlights. Though this is a somewhat bigger image, and here we can understand clear cut. So here you can see here, this is the plane AA. So this is, and this is our, these are our tooths or tooth element line. Okay, so I will highlight. These are the tooth lines. Okay, now perpendicular. See, now this is the AA line. The AA line is perpendicular. If you can see here, I can show this is the right angle. Okay, so now if viewed from this side, how it will looks. So extended profile means what? Up to this point, you will get here exactly the same diameter. This is for your understanding, friends. So up to this point, if we will cut, and this another side is this point. So if I will take projection, so it will come approximately here. So you will see only these two lines, and whatever the profile you are observing here, this dotted. So like this you will observe. Then this is extension. So whatever you can observe, I am highlighting. This is extension taken. So try to imagine now if I will take projection at this particular point. Something we will try to draw something like this. And if I will take projection at this particular point. Okay, so you will get this much. So now extended profile, though there is no material, still it is imagined that this line is imagined up to this point, and this profile is imagined up to this point. If you will take profile like this, then you will get the complete ellipse as shown in figure. You will get this complete ellipse as shown in figure. So this understanding is very important, that how this figure is there. Okay. Again, I want to give you some highlights. This is for additional purpose. So you can see here, if we will cut at a right angle. So this, don't draw this figure. I will give some time. So if you take this section, and if you take this section also, see. So this is normal, like it means our standardized section. Then you will get the figure like this, exactly circular. But I am not saying that this is normal to the tooth element. This is our standardized section. Now, if these are the helical tooth profile, and if I am taking section like this or like this, then definitely see this figure also, extended profile, you will get an ellipse. So this is the basic understanding required, that how the ellipse is forming. So you can take now this figure also, from this to this, again you will come to know that you will get ellipse. So here I have tried to explain in somewhat way that how it is becoming like ellipse. Okay, so now after this, the ellipse is shown by dotted line. So we have seen that how that particular ellipse is forming. So for this case of ellipse, we have to define the semi-major and semi-minor axis. So this is the semi-major and this is the semi-minor axis. So semi-minor axis, no problem, d by 2, d by 2. This distance and again this distance, no problem. Semi-major axis. So this is the distance of semi-major axis. This distance and this distance. Now how to calculate this distance? So again here I will go for this angle again psi. So from this you can clear cut calculate this distance is d by 2. I will assume the distance as x, and then I can easily say here cos of psi is equal to d by 2 divided by x. Therefore x will become d divided by 2 cos of psi. So this distance is now d by 2 cos psi and d by 2 cos psi. So how this distance? I have explained you trigonometry. So d is diameter. How this major axis and minor axis is calculated, that I have explained. This is semi-minor axis d by 2, semi-major axis d by 2 cos psi and d by 2 cos psi. This is the pitch cylinder shown, B is the face width. Okay. Now it can be proved from the analytical geometry. Now we have considered here ellipse. So for this ellipse, already some standard things are there. So in this case, this can be proved from analytical geometry, that radius of curvature r dash. So now this is the formula taken for ellipse. So here this point is there and the radius of curvature as shown here. So this radius r dash is given by a square divided by b, where a stands for the semi major and b stands for the semi minor axis, a square divided by b. So in this figure I will explain. So d by 2 and d by 2 are the semi minor axis, then d by 2 cos psi and d by 2 cos psi are the semi major axis. Then for the ellipse, it can be proved from the geometry that the radius of curvature r dash is given by a square divided by b, where a stands for the semi major axis and b stands for the semi minor axis. So here you can see a teeth is imagined. R dash is the radius of curvature at particular point B, and semi major and semi minor axis I have given. So before proceeding further, give the heading virtual number of teeth. So draw this diagram, and here you can write in this diagram only. semi major axis is equal to b by 2 cos psi, and semi minor axis is equal to d by 2, and this is, you can say, this is the radius of curvature for the ellipse. Radius of curvature r dash is equal to, in between put line like this. Okay, so draw the diagram and write down this. I will give you 5 minutes, then we will proceed for the further things of writing. Okay, so this diagram you draw and give the heading virtual number of teeth. So here I will say, I will give here only heading. This is the somewhat magnified, therefore I am asking you to draw this diagram. Virtual number of teeth. Virtual means imaginary or helical gears. Okay, so I will give you 5 minutes for drawing. Okay, so I think diagram is over now. Hello. Okay, put comment over so that I can proceed further for next formula. If the diagram is drawing or drawn already, then we will proceed further. Virtual number of teeth. So now r dash is equal to a square by b, where we are having the semi major axis. It is nothing but I will put as a, and the semi minor axis is nothing but it is b. So if I substitute the values in a and b, I will get r dash is equal to d divided by cos square psi. So I will give you some hints in this. So r dash, I will write at downside r dash is equal to a dash a square by b. So d by 2 cos psi. So d square divided by 4 cos square psi divided by d by 2. Here d 1d will remain. So what you will get ultimately? You will get r is equal to d divided by 2 cos square psi. So it is mentioned here directly. So I have given you some idea. So you also write down as I am giving, because these formulas are required for further calculation. So substituting the values of a and b in r dash. So what is the expression? Once again, I will repeat, r dash is equal to a square divided by b. This is the expression for ellipse with relation between semi major and semi minor axis. So if we will substitute our values, you will get r dash is equal to d divided by cos square psi. And here you can see. So what is this? So in the design of helical gear, an imaginary spur gear is considered in the plane AA. So when we are cutting a gear perpendicular to the plane or perpendicular to tooth element, then in that plane an imaginary spur gear is considered. Very important. Imaginary spur gear is considered in the plane with center O dash and having pitch circle radius R dash. So see here, O dash is the center for this and R dash is the pitch circle radius. So I can calculate PCD also, pitch circle radius. So the another diagram shown formatting your R dash, and this is formative. Formative nothing but imaginary or virtual gear. It is considered in a plane perpendicular to tooth element having pitch circle radius R dash and module as MN, normal module. It is called as formative or virtual spur gear. So this gear is called as formative or virtual spur gear. So I will give you 1 minute already. You have drawn this diagram. This diagram is not required. Just write down r dash is equal to d divided by 2 cos square psi. And then very important, we have imagined, or in the design of helical gears, it is imagined that an imaginary spur gear in a plane which is perpendicular to tooth element, that is plane AA, and O dash as the center, R dash is the pitch circle radius, and MN is the normal module. Then it is called as formative or virtual gear. So now I can easily calculate the further calculation in this case. So here you can see in this. So we have R value. So I can say we are having pitch circle diameter is equal to 2 times R dash. So what is R value? D divided by 2 cos square psi. So it is 2 times, therefore 2 get cancel. You will get this D is equal to D dash is equal to D divided by cos square psi. Okay, where pitch circle diameter D dash is for virtual gear. Try to understand the difference. This D dash, when I am saying this D dash is the virtual gear, and when I am saying D, it is the actual gear and it is the virtual or imaginary gear. So this is the pitch circle diameter of imaginary or virtual gear, and this is the pitch circle diameter of actual gear. So this is the difference between D dash and D. Then the number of teeth, now we have to calculate the number of teeth. The number of teeth Z dash on this imaginary spur gear is given by, is called virtual number of teeth. Very important. The number of teeth Z dash. See, whatever the number of teeth on actual gear, we are call it as only teeth. It is not mentioned that actual number of teeth. But when we are imagining the gear in a plane perpendicular to two element, we are calling it that gear as formative or virtual gear. And the number of teeth which are on that formative or virtual gear are called as virtual number of teeth or formative number of teeth. These are also imaginary teeth. So it is denoted by Z dash. It is denoted by Z dash. So in this case, how to calculate that particular virtual number of teeth? So Z dash is here calculated. Very basic formula is shown here. 2 pi r dash. It is the perimeter like so. 2 pi r dash divided by Pn, normal circular pitch. So basic formula is applied for calculation of number of teeth. 2 pi r dash divided by Pn. Because we want to put that r dash value in this. So 2 pi will remain as it is. Here d divided by 2 cos square psi. This is the value which I have substituted for r dash. Divided by p is nothing but pi into mn, the value for this circular pitch. Then you can see in this case clear cut that pi will get cancelled. This d by 2 and this 2 will get cancelled, and you will get d divided by mn cos square psi. D divided by mn cos square psi. Okay. Again, you are having the value of d. D value we have discussed as d is equal to zmn divided by cos psi. Zmn divided by cos psi. So your z dash will become zmn divided by mn cos square psi as it is into cos of psi. Here I have substituted the value zmn divided by cos psi. So mn will get cancelled, and finally you will get z dash is equal to z divided by cos cube psi. Very important formula for further calculation, where z dash and z, this gives the relation between imaginary virtual number of teeth and actual number of teeth. In numerical, if it is given that z, then you have to calculate z dash, and based on the z dash only you can calculate the Lewis form factor, and you can further solve the numerical. So again, I will give you 1 minute. You are not z dash, so it is z is actual number of teeth and z dash is the imaginary virtual number of teeth. So write down these formulas, d dash and z dash. These are required for further many calculations. I will give you 2 minutes for this. So write down this, then we will proceed for further to the proportions and how to write down the different formulas for pitch circle diameter, addendum circle diameter, dedendum circle diameter, and what are different standard tooth proportions for helical gear. Okay, so let us proceed further after writing the formulas. before proceeding, virtual number teeth we have discussed. Then in this case, the main important formulas are r dash is equal to d divided by 2 cos square psi. Then we have finally arrived at a relation between virtual number of teeth and actual number of teeth, and z dash is equal to z divided by cos cube psi. This relation will be useful for calculating the virtual number of teeth and simultaneously the further calculation of which are based on teeth like y, Levis form factor. Next point is the tooth proportion. The same point after virtual number of teeth. Now we will be discussing the tooth proportions. There are some. These are the standard things about this tooth proportions. Okay. So in the helical gear, normal module Mn. So here normal module is Mn. Should be selected from the standard values. In spur gear also we are selecting the values. The first preference values of module are, see here, 1, 1.25, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. What is this first preference value? For example, if you will get any value, normal module is equal to 1.7, you will assume it as 2. 2.5 and 3. These are the figures which you can round it up. If you are getting value 3.9, you can take it as 4. Now 6 to 8, see here, there is no 7 value. So if your value is 6.5 also, you have to assume 8. And if the value is 7.5 also, you have to assume 8. And then 10. So these are the first preference values. Again, there are second preference values also for spur gear. We have discussed that second preference values. For the helical gear, you keep these values, and from this value we will be rounding up the normal module value to a standard value. And when we are saying that Mn is equal to, if your answer is 3.7, and if we are saying that Mn is equal to 4, we are saying 3.5, we are rounding up 4. So this is the basic. This is the basic for rounding up. So the first preference values, write down. It will be useful for rounding up this. Then the standard proportions of addendum and dedendum are. Addendum, HA, addendum denoted by HA is equal to Mn, means 1 time of module. Dedendum denoted by EHEF is equal to, here it is written 1.25 times of normal module. And clearance, these are the standard terms in Greer terminology. Clearance is equal to 0.25 times of normal module. So write down this, the standard first preference values. These values are useful for rounding up. So 11 values are there. So we will be selecting the value from these 11 values. When we will be rounding up, then we are using the basic for rounding up by using these 11 values. Okay, then addendum is equal to 1 time of normal module, dedendum is equal to 1.25 times of normal module, and clearance is equal to 0.25 times of normal module. Let us proceed further. Addendum circle diameter and dedendum circle diameter. So addendum circle diameter. So in this case, dA, it is given by dA. Addendum circle diameter is equal to, we are having PCD plus 2 times of addendum. So PCD is D plus 2 times HA. But the PCD is given by, we have already discussed this formula, ZMN divided by cos psi. This is the formula for diameter. And twice HA is nothing but Mn. This we have seen here only. HA is equal to Mn. So if I will substitute the values, taking Mn common, you will get Z divided by cos psi plus 2. So this is your addendum circle diameter. In the small numerical, it can be asked to calculate the basic things like addendum circle diameter, dedendum circle diameter, clearance. So these things can be asked. So write down these formulas. Then I will write dedendum circle diameter. DF is equal to, what will be standard formula? PCD minus 2 times dedendum. PCD minus 2 times dedendum. So this is formula. PCD ZMN divided by cos of psi minus 2 times. So here 1.25 mn. So 1.25 into 2. Directly it is written 2.5 mn. So if mn is taken common, then you can say df is equal to mn into bracket z divided by cos psi minus 2.5. So here in this case you have written addendum is equal to 1 times of normal module, dedendum 1.25 times, and clearance 0.25 times of normal module. So write down this formula for dA, addendum circle diameter, and formula for dF, dedendum circle diameter. Okay, so let us proceed further. After tooth proportions, now we will be discussing about the leading edge, what we can call it as the leading edge, what we can call it as the trailing edge. So here, and what is the advance of leading edge and trailing edge. So this point now we will be discussing. So the normal pressure angle alpha n is always generally we have seen that it is 20 degree. Alpha is assumed as 20 degree. The helix angle, that is psi, generally it varies from 15 to 25 degrees variation. Now if helical gear top view is shown here. So and this is the direction of motion, means it is moving or it is rotating in such a way that this is the direction of motion. So now as the gear rotates from left to right, see, this is, I will say, left, right, left to right. When it will be left to right, in the as indicated as arrow is shown, the point A1 will be the first point. So see here I am highlighting, this will be the first point which will come in contact with the meshing tooth on another gear. So this is the first point. Come first time in contact with the meshing tooth on another gear. So this is called as the leading edge of the tooth. This is called as the leading edge of the tooth. Okay. And then the contact gradually continues, and A2 here will be the last point on the tooth. A2 will be the last point on the tooth, which will come in contact with the meshing teeth, and here that tooth contact finish. So this is called as the trailing edge. So leading edge and trailing edge I have shown you. Okay, so this is called as trailing edge. Oh, so okay. So if we will assume that this is rotating from or motion from left to right, and helical gear is there, consider one center line of tooth A1, A2. Then A1 will be the first point which will come in contact with the other tooth. This it's called as a leading edge, and A2 will be the last point which will come in contact with the other tooth. It is called as the trailing edge. Now, in order that the contact of the face shall always contain at least one point, means there should be at least one point engaged. It is requirement that at least there should be always one point engagement should be there. So in order to achieving the condition for this case, the leading edge of the tooth should be advanced ahead the trailing edge by a distance greater than the circular pitch. So this is the leading edge and this is the trailing edge. So this is the distance between the leading edge and trailing edge. Let us say that distance as x. So this x should be always greater than the circular pitch. X should be always greater than the circular pitch. So in order to have continuous contact, or always there should be one point contact. For achieving the condition that at least one point is in contact, the leading edge should be advanced, means the point A1 should be ahead the point A2, that is x, and by how much distance? Greater than or equal to circular P. So this is mentioned here. This P is mentioned, when the P is, I will highlight here, circular P. Okay. So now we have to go for by substituting some values, we have to make it some standardized. So consider triangle A1, A2. So this triangle we have to consider as shown here only. This is the triangle A1, A2, C. So if you consider this triangle, then tan of this angle, I will say this angle as psi as shown. So tan of psi is equal to A2C, opposite side, divided by A1C. So I can say x divided by, this is nothing but the face width. So x divided by b. So I can say x is equal to b tan of psi. I can say x is equal to b tan of psi. So if I will substitute this equation in the above equation A, then I can write, instead of x, I will write that equation x should be greater than or equal to p. So I will write b tan of psi should be greater than or equal to p, or it is modified, b should be greater than or equal to p divided by tan of psi. B should be greater than or equal to b divided by tan of psi. Okay, draw the diagram and write down whatever I have written. Then we will proceed further and we will finish this part. Take 2 minutes. Okay, so assuming that this content is over, so now we have arrived up to b is greater than or equal to p divided by tan of psi. Now we are having relation here, relation between mn. This is nothing but the normal module, and m is the transverse module. Mn is equal to m upon cos psi. This we have already discussed. Now we have arrived up to p divided by tan of psi. So I will take here, just for modification purpose, I will take p divided by tan of psi. So circular pitch we have considered. So it is pi m. So p I have substituted as pi m divided by tan of psi. But we are having from this equation m is equal to mn divided by cos of psi. So I will substitute here the m value as mn divided by cos of psi. Mn divided by cos of psi. So what it will be? So I will say pi mn divided by tan psi as it and cos psi. So tan psi I will say sin divided by cos into here cos. So this will get cancelled, and finally it is not z. So you make it here pi mn divided by sin psi. So we have uh, arrived at t divided by tan psi is equal to pi mn divided by sin psi. So I will substitute here that expression, whatever b is there. So b should be greater than or equal to, b should be greater than or equal to, instead of p divided by tan psi, I will substitute it as pi mn divided by sin psi. So this is the minimum phase width required. This is the minimum phase width. Okay, so if your phase width is this much, no problem. And generally it is assumed 10 times of normal module. So in the many numericals, in the initial stages, we will assume at b is equal to 10 times of normal. But this is the standard formula. In order to keep continuous contact between the two pairs, it is requirement that b should be greater than or equal to pi mn divided by sin of psi. So write down this 1 minute I will give. Okay, so starting from first. So we have discussed virtual number of teeth, how this diagram is drawn, and what is the concept of this radius of curvature, then semi-major axis and semi-minor axis for the considered ellipse. Then we have arrived at the concept of imaginary spur gear in a plane AA or in a plane perpendicular to number of that perpendicular to teeth. It is also called as formative or virtual spur gear. Then we have arrived at the relation between virtual number of teeth and actual number of teeth as z dash is equal to divided by cos cube of psi. Then we have taken the tooth proportions. If we are getting the odd value of normal module, then how it is rounded up or standardized. There are 11 values that we have discussed. Then we have discussed the tooth proportions for addendum, dedendum, clearance, and we have calculated the addendum circle diameter, dedendum circle diameter, and the concept of leading edge, trailing edge, and based on this, we have arrived at the relation for face width. B should be greater than or equal to pi mn divided by sine of gamma. So